It often starts quietly, and then one night you wake up soaked in sweat, your heart is racing, and you feel like your body is no longer following the rules you knew for years. As the 40s move into the 50s, many women notice hot flashes, night sweats, weight that sits stubbornly around the waist, sleep that feels lighter, and moods that swing more than they used to. These changes are not a sign that you are weak. They are a sign that estrogen and other hormones are shifting and your body is trying to find a new balance. Because these changes feel so physical, it is easy to think only about hormones in a prescription bottle. However, day after day, the strongest signals your body receives come from your plate. What you eat, how often you eat, the way you combine foods, and even how you hydrate can calm or provoke many menopause symptoms. Today, I want to walk you through the best foods to help prevent menopause symptoms and maintain more stable hormonal health after the age of 40. Before we move deeper, if you want steady, science-based guidance for your health in this stage of life, subscribe so that each new lesson finds you when you need it most. To understand why food matters so much, it helps to look at what menopause really does inside the body. Menopause itself is just one day, the point when 12 months have passed since the final menstrual period. The years before that are called perimenopause, and the years after that are postmenopause. During perimenopause, estrogen and progesterone do not simply fall in a straight line. They swing. Some months, levels are high, other months they are low, and this irregular signaling is one of the reasons hot flashes, night sweats, and mood shifts feel so unpredictable. Over time, the ovaries make less estrogen. The main form of estrogen before menopause, called estradiol, falls sharply. After menopause, the body relies more on estrone, which is made in fat and muscle tissue. That shift changes the way bone, brain, blood vessels, and fat cells behave. Textbooks on clinical nutrition and bone health describe how estrogen normally slows bone breakdown. When estrogen drops at menopause, bone loss can accelerate to around 2 to 3% of bone mass per year in the early years, especially at the spine and hip. Women are therefore more prone to osteoporosis and fractures as they move through their 50s and beyond. At the same time, the active form of vitamin D becomes harder to make as we age, which makes it more difficult to absorb calcium from the gut and keep blood calcium steady. When blood calcium dips, the parathyroid glands release parathyroid hormone, which tells bone to release calcium into the bloodstream. Estrogen normally keeps that signal from becoming too strong. When estrogen is low, that protective brake weakens and bone can be broken down more quickly. Moreover, falling estrogen changes how we store fat and how our cells respond to insulin. Many women notice that weight shifts from the hips and thighs to the abdomen. That central weight is more hormonally active, more inflamed, and more resistant to insulin. Higher insulin and higher inflammation can make hot flashes more frequent, worsen sleep, and raise the risk of diabetes and heart disease. Because of all of this, the goal after 40 is not to chase a perfect hormone level. The goal is to build a daily way of eating that supports bone, stabilizes blood sugar, calms inflammation, and provides plant compounds and minerals that help the body handle these new hormone patterns more gracefully. As we move through the food groups, if it feels comfortable, share in the comments which menopause symptom has been the most disruptive for you. When you describe your experience, you help other women realize that they are not alone. To begin, let us start with the foundation food group for menopause health, which is calcium-rich foods that the body can actually absorb. Bones are not static. They are living tissues that are constantly being broken down and rebuilt. Calcium is the main mineral in bone, but what matters is not only how much calcium you eat, but also how well your body absorbs and uses it. Clinical nutrition texts describe how calcium absorption depends on active vitamin D, on the ratio between calcium and phosphorus, and on other dietary factors such as fiber, sodium, and certain plant compounds. After 40, and especially after menopause, good daily sources of calcium become essential. Helpful options include plain yogurt, kefir, milk, and cheeses in moderate portions. If you avoid dairy, calcium-fortified plant milks made from soy, oats, or almonds, as well as calcium-set tofu, can fill that gap. Certain leafy greens, such as kale, bok choy, and collard greens, also provide absorbable calcium, although some greens that are very high in oxalates, such as raw spinach, are less efficient sources. Moreover, lactose, the natural sugar in milk, can improve calcium absorption in some people. Although not every study finds the same effect, you do not need to load your whole day with dairy. A bowl of plain yogurt at breakfast with fruit, a serving of calcium-fortified plant milk with lunch, and a portion of cooked leafy greens at dinner can already move your daily intake into a protective range. Because bone health also depends on the balance between calcium and phosphorus, it helps to limit habits that flood the body with phosphorus, such as frequent intake of processed meats and certain soft drinks that contain phosphate additives. Very high dietary phosphorus paired with low calcium can stimulate parathyroid hormone and increase bone loss. If you have a history of kidney stones, chronic kidney disease, or a condition that affects calcium handling, speak with your clinician before increasing calcium supplements. Food-based calcium is usually safer and gentler, but your individual plan still needs medical guidance. Next, for calcium to do its job, you need vitamin D-rich foods and safe sunlight as the second pillar. Vitamin D is more than a vitamin. It behaves like a hormone, helping the gut absorb calcium, assisting bone mineralization, and influencing muscle function and immune health. As we age, the conversion of vitamin D into its active form slows. At the same time, many adults after 40 spend more time indoors, cover more skin, or use strong sunblock, so their skin makes less vitamin D from sunlight. You can support your levels through food. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, mackerel, and trout provide vitamin D together with omega-3 fatty acids that are anti-inflammatory and heart protective. Egg yolks offer smaller amounts but still contribute. Many milks and plant milks, as well as some yogurts and breakfast cereals, are fortified with vitamin D. When you combine these with safe, short periods of sun exposure on arms and legs, you give your body a better chance to maintain a healthy vitamin D status. Because vitamin D is fat-soluble, very high-dose supplements over long periods can lead to high blood calcium and harm the kidneys or the heart. People with high blood calcium, kidney disease, sarcoidosis, or some cancers need especially careful monitoring when they take vitamin D supplements. For most adults, a pattern of regular fatty fish, fortified foods, and measured supplementation guided by blood tests is safer than a single large dose. Practical daily pattern: grilled salmon once or twice per week, a fortified plant milk in your morning drink, and an egg-based meal a couple of times per week already create a strong base. This combination supports bones, stabilizes muscles, and may modestly improve mood, which often dips during and after menopause. Then, once bone support is in place, a third key food group for menopausal health is whole soy foods. Soybeans contain plant compounds called isoflavones. These are often described as phytoestrogens because they can bind to estrogen receptors in the body, although they do so more weakly than human estrogen. Texts on medicinal herbs describe soy as having estrogenic, cardioprotective, and cholesterol-lowering effects, and as being useful in aging. In practical terms, this means that for some women, regular intake of whole soy foods can modestly ease hot flashes and night sweats, and may support bone and blood vessel health. The effect is not dramatic like hormone replacement therapy, but it can be a gentle background support, especially when you use soy as a replacement for red and processed meats. Helpful forms include edamame, which are young green soybeans; tofu, which can be stir-fried, baked, or added to soups; tempeh, which is a fermented soy cake with a firm texture; and unsweetened soy milk or soy yogurt. These foods provide high-quality protein, iron, calcium if they are calcium-set, and fiber. It is important to distinguish whole soy foods from highly processed soy supplements. Whole foods bring a natural balance of protein, fat, fiber, and phytochemicals. Supplements that concentrate isoflavones into pills or powders are more intense and may not be appropriate for everyone. Women who have a history of estrogen-sensitive breast cancer, who are taking medications such as tamoxifen or aromatase inhibitors, or who are unsure about their cancer risk should speak with their oncologist or clinician before increasing soy intake. Many guidelines allow moderate whole soy foods in these settings, but individual circumstances differ, and medical supervision is crucial. For most healthy women after 40, a serving of whole soy foods once a day or a few times per week can support muscle-bone cholesterol and potentially hot flashes, especially when those foods are part of an overall plant-focused eating pattern. Alongside soy, a fourth powerful group includes flaxseed and other nutrient-dense seeds. Flaxseed is rich in alpha-linolenic acid, which is a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid, as well as lignans and fiber. Herbal references describe flax as antiatherogenic, anti-inflammatory, and rich in compounds that interact with estrogen pathways, although some of these actions are described as antiestrogenic rather than estrogenic. For menopausal health, what matters most is that flaxseed supports heart and gut health, helps regulate cholesterol, and can smooth blood sugar spikes. Stable blood sugar, lower circulating insulin, and reduced inflammation can soften hot flashes for some women and can greatly support weight management around the waist. To actually receive these benefits, the seeds need to be ground or chewed very well. Whole seeds tend to pass through the digestive tract intact. Ground flaxseed can be stirred into yogurt, sprinkled on salads, blended into smoothies, or mixed into oatmeal. A common pattern used in studies for cholesterol involves roughly 2 to 3 tablespoons of ground flaxseed per day, along with generous fluid intake. Because flaxseed is very high in fiber, taking a large amount at once without enough fluid can increase the risk of constipation or, in rare cases, bowel obstruction, especially in people who already have narrowing of the gut. People with inflammatory bowel conditions or other digestive diseases should introduce flax slowly and discuss it with their clinician. Other useful seeds include chia, pumpkin, and sesame. Chia seeds also deliver fiber and healthy fats, helping with fullness and blood sugar control. Pumpkin and sesame seeds bring minerals such as magnesium, zinc, and calcium. Together, a daily habit of a few tablespoons of mixed seeds can support heart, bone, and hormonal balance in a gentle but meaningful way. In addition, the fifth group you need on your plate every single day is dark leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables. These vegetables do more than simply add color. They provide fiber, folate, vitamin K, carotenoids, and in some cases, calcium, as well as a wide range of plant compounds that help the liver process hormones. Cruciferous vegetables, such as broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and cauliflower, contain sulfur compounds that influence how the body handles estrogens and detoxifies other chemicals. Clinical nutrition texts highlight that diets rich in fruits and vegetables are associated with better bone density and lower fracture risk, likely through a combination of minerals, alkalinity, and antioxidants that protect bone cells from oxidative stress. Leafy greens such as kale, collards, and bok choy provide calcium that the body can use, and vitamin K, which is involved in bone mineralization. Moreover, high-fiber vegetables support a healthy gut microbiome. The bacteria in your colon help break down certain estrogen-like compounds and participate in the recycling and excretion of hormones. A more diverse and balanced microbiome can smooth some of the peaks and valleys in hormone metabolism that women feel as mood swings, bloating, and irregular bowel habits. Aim to cover half of your plate with vegetables at 2 meals a day. At least one of those servings can be a dark leafy green, such as sautéed kale with garlic and olive oil. Another can be a cruciferous option, such as roasted Brussels sprouts or a cabbage and carrot salad. Variety matters. Different colors bring different protective compounds, so rotate greens, oranges, reds, and purples over the week. If you take a blood-thinning medication such as warfarin, large, sudden swings in vitamin K intake from leafy greens can affect how the medication works. In that situation, the goal is not to remove greens, but to keep intake consistent and to coordinate with your clinician for proper dose adjustment. Moving forward, the sixth food category for calmer menopause symptoms is deeply colored fruits, especially berries and citrus. Berries such as blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries are rich in anthocyanins and other antioxidants that protect blood vessels and brain cells from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress rises with age and with hormonal shifts, and it is linked to worse vascular reactivity, which can influence hot flashes and night sweats. These fruits also have a high fiber-to-sugar ratio. That means they satisfy the desire for something sweet without sending blood sugar on a sharp rise, which can later crash and trigger irritability, shakiness, or increased hunger. Stabilizing blood sugar is a quiet but powerful way to keep mood more even and to reduce nighttime awakenings related to wide blood sugar swings. Citrus fruits such as oranges, grapefruits, and mandarins provide vitamin C, folate, and flavonoids that support blood vessel health and collagen in skin and connective tissue. Many women notice changes in skin texture and joint comfort around menopause. While no fruit erases those changes, a steady flow of vitamin-rich fruits supports repair processes. A simple daily target is to include at least 2 portions of fruit, with one of them being berries. A portion can be a cup of fresh berries, a medium orange, or a small apple. Instead of fruit juice, which removes fiber and concentrates sugar, choose whole fruit. Use berries on top of yogurt or oatmeal, eat an orange as an afternoon snack, or add sliced fruit to a mixed green salad. For those with diabetes or prediabetes, fruit can still fit, but it works best when spread across the day. And paired with protein or healthy fat, such as nuts or yogurt, to further slow absorption. Finally, the seventh and often overlooked pillar is stable protein and healthy fats at each meal. Hormone balance is not only about estrogen. It also involves insulin, cortisol, thyroid hormones, and more. When meals are built from refined grains, sugary foods, and very little protein, blood sugar rises quickly and then falls sharply. These roller coaster swings can make hot flashes more intense, trigger palpitations, worsen anxiety, and disrupt sleep. Protein supports satiety, helps preserve muscle mass, and slows the rise of blood sugar after eating. Healthy fats, especially from plants and fish, support cell membranes and help you absorb fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamin D. Together, they create meals that digest more slowly and keep you steady for hours. Useful protein sources after 40 include fish, especially oily fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids, poultry, eggs, plain yogurt and kefir, tofu and tempeh, beans and lentils. Healthy fats come from olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds. When you put these together, you build meals that feel satisfying without being heavy. For example, a midday meal could be a salad with mixed greens, grilled salmon, a sprinkle of nuts and seeds, olive oil and lemon dressing, and a side of berries. This one plate gives you protein, healthy fat, fiber, antioxidants, and minerals. In the evening, a lentil and vegetable stew with a spoon of yogurt on top and a side of leafy greens brings plant protein, carbohydrates with fiber, and bone-friendly nutrients. People with chronic kidney disease may need to moderate protein intake and tailor sources according to their stage of disease, so they should work with their renal team to adjust these general suggestions. Now that we have walked through the main food groups, it helps to see how they fit together in a real day for a woman in her late 40s or early 50s. Imagine a morning when you wake up after a night that was a little warmer than you liked, but not overwhelming. You start the day with a tall glass of water, because night sweats often leave the body slightly dehydrated, and mild dehydration can make lightheadedness and fatigue worse. Breakfast is simple but intentional. You prepare a bowl of plain yogurt or a calcium-fortified soy yogurt. On top, you add a handful of mixed berries and a spoon or two of ground flaxseed. You sprinkle a few chopped nuts and a small drizzle of nut butter if you enjoy it. This bowl gives you protein, calcium, vitamin D if the yogurt is fortified, fiber, lignans, healthy fats, and antioxidants, all in one meal. Your blood sugar rises slowly, your stomach feels comfortable, and you stay full for hours. Later in the morning, instead of a sweet pastry, you choose a citrus fruit and a few almonds. The fruit refreshes you, the almonds add protein and fat, and you avoid the rapid sugar spike that often leads to a late morning energy crash. Lunch might be a warm bowl of vegetable and lentil soup, rich with carrots, celery, tomatoes, onions, and leafy greens stirred in at the end. On the side, you make a salad with mixed greens, shredded cabbage, thinly sliced red onion, and a serving of tempeh or grilled tofu. You dress it with olive oil, lemon juice, and herbs. A small piece of whole grain bread completes the meal. You have now covered leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, whole soy, legumes, and healthy fats. In the afternoon, rather than relying on coffee after coffee, you prepare an herbal tea and pair it with a small piece of fruit or a few vegetable sticks and hummus. Many women find that very high caffeine intake, especially late in the day, worsens hot flashes and night sweats. Reducing caffeine and replacing some cups with herbal options can soften those symptoms. Dinner can be a piece of baked salmon or another fatty fish, served with roasted Brussels sprouts and sweet potatoes. You add a side of yogurt-based sauce or a light sprinkle of cheese to bring more calcium. If you do not eat fish, a bean and vegetable chili with avocado on top and a side of sautéed kale can fill the same role. Before bed, you keep the last snack light and balanced, such as a small bowl of yogurt with a sprinkle of seeds or a few slices of apple with a spoon of nut butter. Eating very heavy meals right before bed can worsen reflux and night sweats. If you already follow some version of this pattern, tell me in the comments which meal feels easiest for you to adjust and which one feels hardest. Your answers can guide future episodes and also help other women see what real change looks like. As you build this pattern, it is just as important to avoid one common mistake that silently makes menopause symptoms worse. That mistake is trying to fix everything with supplements while eating a diet that is low in whole foods and high in refined products. It is very understandable to reach for pills and powders when symptoms feel urgent. You see labels that promise relief from hot flashes, better sleep, and more energy, and it is tempting to treat food as a secondary detail. However, professional guides remind us that many herbal products used for postmenopausal symptoms, such as black cohosh, have potential side effects. Black cohosh, for example, is used for postmenopausal symptoms, but it can cause stomach discomfort, fatigue, abnormal heart rhythms, and liver injury in some people, and it can interact with medications, including blood thinners, antidepressants, and hormonal agents. When the base diet is strong, with adequate calcium, vitamin D, protein, fiber, and a wide range of plant foods, your body has what it needs to repair itself and to cushion hormonal swings. Supplements can then be added carefully and deliberately when needed, under medical supervision. When the base diet is weak, no supplement can fully compensate, and some may add risk. Therefore, focus first on building meals around the 7 pillars we discussed: calcium-rich foods, vitamin D-rich foods, and safe sunlight, whole soy, flax and other seeds, leafy greens and crucifers, berries and citrus, and stable protein with healthy fats. Only once that pattern is in place does it make sense to ask whether targeted supplements have a role in your personal situation. As we close, it may help to reframe how you see yourself in this stage of life. Menopause is not a failure of the body. It is a transition that every woman who lives long enough will pass through. The goal is not to chase youth. The goal is to enter the second half of life with strong bones, a resilient heart, clear thinking, steady mood, and the freedom to move and live without feeling that your body is an enemy. Food is not a cure for every symptom, and it does not replace appropriate medical therapy when it is needed, such as hormone replacement therapy, antidepressants, bone medications, or other treatments. However, food is a daily form of medicine that you control. Every time you choose a meal rich in plants, protein, and healthy fats instead of a meal built from refined foods and sugar, you send a signal of stability to your hormones. Think of yourself not as someone who is losing hormones, but as someone who is learning how to support a wiser, more energy-efficient body. You are building a way of eating that protects you from fractures, heart disease, diabetes, and cognitive decline for decades to come. If this episode helped you see menopause and food in a clearer way, subscribe so that you do not miss the next lesson on your health journey. And before you move on with your day, take a moment to share in the comments which one of these food changes you plan to start with this week. Your plan may be the exact idea another woman needs to finally believe that change is possible.